Wednesday night. I can't believe it's already halfway through the week, and you're on, ready for it? S Live. I'm the only one here tonight. We have no tattoo man in the background tonight. So anyway, we're going to be, I don't know, the show's really not going to be that much different, is it? Anyway, nothing new's happened around here. At least not really. We haven't done any investigations yet. I'm looking forward to doing some stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks, just to kind of get back in the saddle, it seems like. Get out and go do something. So who knows what we'll do. I know we've been talking about something. We'll see what happens. So anyway, 2 weeks ago we started talking to the National Paranormal Society department heads, and we had started with Jose Prado at that time. And then last week we talked to our friend Scott Grunwald, so that was fun. It was kind of a break away from the plan, so to speak. So tonight we are going to be talking to Candy Meehan, who is over 2 departments, kind of like me. You got to kind of double duty the girls a little bit. So she has got aliens and UFOs and ancient mysteries, and she's also one of my really good friends, and we call ourselves partners in crime with the NPS, don't we, girl?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
So I want to welcome Candy to the show. So Candy, say hello to everybody.
Oh, hi, Sherry. Thank you very much for having me this evening. I look forward to it.
We should have some fun tonight, because we get to talk about something that's kind of new and exciting. And I know a couple of weeks ago, you and I were texting back and forth because I was watching some stuff on the History Channel, and it was just some really cool stuff. So now I'm like, maybe I need to start looking at this ancient mystery stuff some more.
I know. There is so much out there in regards to ancient mysteries. I mean, there are lost civilizations. There are like the Nazca lines. There are just Atlantis. I mean, there are so many things out there, and it's just kind of mind-boggling how they kind of have stories tie them into society. The past civilizations, and even present. I mean, you've got divers from all over the world who are still committed to trying to find Atlantis. Spirit cave mummies. There's just, like I said, it's as much knowledge as there's as much knowledge out there as you're willing to, put time and investigate into it. Like I said, I've learned so much since I took over the department. So.
Oh, I can imagine. Well, and what's so funny is, before I even joined NPS, a lot of us get into the paranormal and we think, oh, ghosts, spirits, hauntings. We don't really think about everything else that falls underneath that category or underneath that heading. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of got me thinking, hey, that's why we need to probably put the department chairs on, because there's probably some teams and some groups and some individuals out there who never thought they were part of the paranormal. And I know, each month we've been trying to highlight a different department, and, we're adding people on. I think this month we were looking at cryptozoology, and we were actually looking at some of the Bigfoot groups and people that study that and Bigfoot hunt. Even Eric went out and Bigfoot hunted a little bit this go-round too. But, it's funny to sit and watch the History Channel, and you see, like you mentioned, Atlantis. That stuff that people are curious about, they get into, they love to learn about it, but they never realize it's actually a paranormal topic.
All right. And, I think people get lost, like, when they're thinking of paranormal, because they're thinking of ghosts and spirits. I mean, because that's really how everything has been marketed and publicized on TV. Yep. And because they've really set aside anything, out of the normal is just big ghost hunting and or investigating, for those of you that have PR issues with ghost hunting, the word. But it's all fringe science related. Every last bit of it. When you've got, we'll cross to the aliens and UFOs. You've got 2 U.S. presidents, former U.S. presidents, who absolutely admit they've had their own experiences with unidentified flying objects.
Yep.
You've got Nobel Prize winners. You've got Nobel laureates. You've got doctors. You've got lawyers. And then you've got mom and pop. You've got farmers. You've got all of these people reporting things that they can't, that fall out of the realm of normal. And right there is paranormal. And, I think, like I said, I think it's because, the spirit world has been so marketed. I mean, since Cats took off, the first time that hit TV, people, it was like throwing, a fishing hook out there. Hook, line, sinker. The American public was just obsessed, and I have been ever since. And, some of the questionable things that I come into is, everybody with a digital recorder and a flashlight thinks they're a researcher.
Right.
Well, and in the paranormal community, unfortunately, there's a lot of mistrust and arrogance, which is really detrimental to the overall, goals that we should be sharing. Because, for me, science, it comes down to, the burden of proof. It truly does. If
Absolutely.
it's supernatural or spiritual, please show me. Explain this to me so that I have the opportunity to stand on the other side of the edge and see it from your point of view. And then all I'm asking is for you to stand on my side of it and look at it from my direction. I believe that, a balance in the middle is where we're going to come to it. I don't believe that any discovery is going to be made purely scientifically or purely spiritually.
It's all accidentally.
Yeah, exactly. Something really odd today. Sylvia Brown passed away today, and a lot of people truly have contempt for the woman. But like her or hate her, she was a pioneer in the field.
Mm-hmm.
She absolutely brought this to the forefront, of people's lives, and she marketed it to death. You know what I mean? She did what she wanted to do with her life and her abilities. But if it hadn't been for her, James Van Praagh would never have been brought to that. Edgar Casey would never have been re-mentioned.
Yep.
Maybe here and there in blurbs and science journals, and maybe occasionally on the Discovery Channel if they weren't, making up shark stories. That type of stuff.
Mermaid stories. I mean, come
I know.
on.
It's a mermaid. God, I was hoping they were making up some of that shark stuff. That one just scared the bejesus out of me.
But I was so hoping the mermaid stuff would be legit because, how cool would that be? But it goes to a lot of the stuff that we see, on the NPS wall getting posted. There's stuff that goes out there that we're just like, okay, well, like me learning more about cryptozoology and putting some of the animal-based creatures out there. People are like, how's that paranormal? Well, study your cryptozoology. How's Bigfoot?
That makes you laugh. How is that paranormal? Well, look at it. Is that normal to you?
Yeah, exactly. Do you see that every day? Really?
Well, and you've got to take into consideration in the rainforest. They're still discovering all sorts of creatures every single day that are unclassified.
Yeah.
So, is there something out there that could, in the ocean? Is there something in the ocean that we may not have seen yet? Oh my God, yeah.
Well, but think about how deep that ocean is. They're talking about oarfish coming up and how, what is it, that they're a sign of an earthquake to come or something like that. There's some type of stigma attached to it. But it's kind of like, there are still places in the ocean that we have not reached and that we cannot get to the depths of. So it's like there's still a ton of stuff left to be discovered. And you know what? None of that stuff's normal.
Absolutely. And, I think one of the things that the entire fringe science community is missing is a standard operation procedures.
Yep.
That's the one thing, love it or hate it about MUFON. They've got a basis of how to conduct their investigations. And what they do is they put it in a database, you know what I mean? And they're able to track.
Yep.
I wish, in the paranormal group, that we could come to some agreement, or just, even on an investigation, fill out this format for us to submit it, and let us start documenting and tracing. And I'm talking about everything from longitude and latitude to using specs from the U.S. Geological Surveys and the U.S. Weather Department. And I'm sure I'm going to make 100 enemies, probably even 1,000. But oh my God, I hate oil pictures. I hate oil pictures with
how many have we
of my
had lately? Oh, my God.
I bet since I've been part of NPS, I have seen probably 5,000 orb pictures. And I'm going to tell you, out of those 5,000 orb pictures, I found 2 compelling. 2. And the only reason I found those 2 compelling is because there were pictures prior to and succeeding from the photo in question. They had supporting evidence, and the people documented, First thing I do when somebody says, oh, there's no moisture in the air, I ask them where they were and approximately what date. And then I go check the barometric pressure record for that area.
It's not that hard.
Well, no. And what I think we've gone to the point is people are so desperate to find something. They want to be that one in a trillion.
Right.
Instead of supporting the entire community with a solid basis of information, we're grasping at straws. And there's been things, like, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was on the Discovery Channel. It was something about gas orbs that these people were seeing out in this field, and they were blue and they rose from the ground up. It was really amazing. That was, but that again was environmental. But it had people ready to believe that Aunt Bee'd come back to talk to them about what Opie did as a boy. It's amazing, and our world is so. Oh my God, there's so much about the world we live in. I mean, if we're just patient and we work together, I think we're really going to come along with some answers. Truly do.
Yeah. Well, and you know what's so funny is all those orb pictures that have been posted lately. For the guys out there that don't know, I'm actually the department head for photography and ghost and haunting. So I'm usually the one that gets pinged on the orb pictures. Joy. But what kills me is every stinking one is blurred. None of them are clear. And when you start asking, you made a really good point while ago, because when you start asking, can I see a picture before and after? Can I see a clear picture of what you took a picture of? I can't stress to people enough, especially on the paranormal side of things, when you are out there ghost hunting and you're out there investigating spirits, it is imperative to get to your location and take walkthrough pictures. When you're taking pictures through the investigation and you get home, are you going to remember if there was a mirror on that wall? No, you're not going to remember that. And that could be a reflection on top of dust causing your orb picture. And if you don't have pictures to compare to, how do you know? How do you know? And if you're outside, I don't care if you told me it wasn't raining or not. There could still be moisture on your damn lens from wherever you kept it during the day or at night. Yeah. People just, they kill me. You guys are killing me with those pictures.
Welcome to my world.
And I will tell people, you've seen me say it. Don't even freaking post it on the NPS wall unless you've had a professional photographer, keyword professional, look at that picture and make sure it's not lens flare. It wasn't dust. They can even tell you. I mean, these guys know. And make sure it's somebody that's not related to the paranormal. I mean, you really want an objective eye on that. And then post it on the NPS wall and go, what do you think? Don't tell me it's a friggin' orb.
Right. Oh, and I, and amateurs, and beginners, amateurs, novices, experienced, we want everybody to come in. But if another thing is people absolutely lose their objectivity. If you ask for my opinion, I promise you I will give it to you in the most professional and direct way I can. But I'm so not into pat me on the fanny when I tell you 4 or 5 times that if the burden of proof falls on you. If you post it and you claim it is something substantial, the burden of proof falls on you to substantiate that claim. Because, there's one blanket statement right now in the entire fringe science community that thwarts everything. It's all subjective because there is no set standard and there is no proof. And because of, and we're standing here, if there truly, truly was, if we had made advancements, we'd have schools like Harvard and all of the universities would be crawling all over it. Right now, there's very few that offer anything about paranormal sciences. Any universities that will take and offer you something credited in that field. What, 3 we found? Maybe 3?
And they were all in the UK.
That's right. Wasn't there one in Texas? Wasn't there one at the University of Texas? Something like that.
Well, they only offered a class in it. They didn't offer any kind of certification. Yeah.
And that's, because right now, people are fanatic in regards to it. If we went back to the point, and picked up where Hans Holzer left off, if we could go back to, if we could remove all the electronics, except for, Polaroid. I love the Polaroid, oh my gosh, evidence. that some people used to bring up. That was, wow, this one that was really hard to refute because of how the film developed so quickly. The thing is, though, is that, like I said, again, the entire field is so competitive that nobody wants to share information because, somebody's going to one-up somebody. So we're not getting very far. Now, however, like in the, UFO field, like I said, MUFON is worldwide. And it started, as a single little cell in all 50 states.
They've established themselves with a base and a protocol. And that's something that the rest of us need to kind of follow along with. It's worked for them. How long have they been going?
You know what? I can't give you an exact date. But I can tell you that, astronauts and physicists, and don't get me wrong, I don't believe that just, people with higher educational degrees and things like that and accomplishments like that have any more to say than, let's say, as a family who bought into Skinwalker Ranch. I would absolutely listen to that couple and their story. And that's mom and pop farmer. You know what I mean? The integrity of the American people are crying out, saying, hey, there's something going on here. And there's a group that decided to put a process in order and listen. And, of course you got people that, think that we're all conspiracy theorists, and I am. I would kiss Jesse Ventura right on the lips. I love that man. I know, right? I dig on him. Make him president. Whatsoever.
Heck yeah, man. Why not?
Right? But
can't be any worse than what we got, but that's a different story.
That's another show.
That's another paranormal situation. Wink, wink.
I think I love Texas.
I can't wait to get down here in March.
I know, I'm so excited. My husband and I were laughing about that because it's going to be our 5th wedding anniversary when I come down. So he's like, can I go?
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Tell him, come on.
He's a good guy. I know, right? Well, now, our group, we don't take very many cases at all. We had a real one out here where we were getting called out by people with MI, mental illness. We had one group. We came to one couple's house. When we do a pre-investigation interview, we go in and photograph every room. We photograph all the property, the whole 9 yards. I mean, so before we even hit their front door to go in and set up, we've already spent 8 to 15 hours just documenting and research. And they set us up. We were in one room, and we heard this thud. Okay, and mind you, the mother was very ill, and she had cancer, and she was in another room in her chair with her oxygen on, and we didn't know what to make of it. So when we're doing evidence review, we can clearly see on the camera her get up and knock the picture down and get it back down. Straight up set us up. And then called us, consistently for days wanting to know what we found. Well, we found you throwing crap on the floor, and
we didn't really find it. See, and that's the other thing is, I honestly do not believe that every location you go to, you're going to find something. And if you are, you need to go back and look at your methods and your techniques, because there is no way you're always going to find something. You can go back to the same location 3, 4, and 5 times and still not get anything. I mean, that's kind of, it goes through a scientific process. Remember when we did our scientific processes, we had to, we did different trials, and we did it several different times.
Absolutely. And you got to take into consideration, too, people's vision and their auditory. People say, oh, well, I wear glasses or contacts. Okay, are you nightblind? Do you have light sensitivity? What is your auditory range? Are you tone deaf? Taking all these things into consideration, and then taking, into consideration the structure itself. Are you in a stick-built home, or are you in a modular that has lower rated standard of insulation? We had this one lady's house. It was amazing. Her and her daughter. There's not too many places I go that I get feelings. I mean, immediate feelings. But I'll tell you what. We were sitting in the daughter's room doing an EVP session, and we could hear the neighbors across the street talking. Oh, and I'm sitting here, and I kind of, but that didn't remove the feelings from the home. You know what I mean? It was overwhelming, and I felt like I couldn't breathe a few times. And I've got no respiratory issues, you know. That's one of the things we document too. You know, when we take in team members, we go through a health disclosure about everything. If you've got high blood pressure, low blood pressure, anything, and we eat before we go. You know, we talk about stuff. You know, our group, I promise you, is incredibly respectful. We tear crap apart, but we also have 3 sensitives on the team, and we try to separate. You know, we try to separate the people that have sensitivities, and what we call them, you know, their personal experiences. We include that, but we don't use that as any evidence whatsoever.
Right.
Whatsoever, and we don't share the experience either. Once we have a team meeting, everything's reviewed, we share. You know, we sit down and talk about how did you feel, what did you feel. You know, we check the power lines. We make sure that there's, you know, no running water going on under the home somewhere. I mean, there's all these things to take into consideration. You know, like you were talking with the cryptozoology, the animals that seem to be surfacing. Well, you know, when you're going and talking about earthquakes, what is that? It's a shifting of plate. It's a plate tectonic issue. And so the ocean floor is adjusting somehow. So there is going to be something scrambled out of its hole. You know what I mean? Go kick an ant pile and watch little critters scatter, you know?
Yep.
But that's what we're talking about, you know? And do I believe, like in the last city of Atlantis? Yeah, 100%. I absolutely believe it existed. You know, do I believe it existed to the magnitude that some people claim? No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm still pretty impressed with some of the Mayan ruins and the Incan ruins and the Aztecs and forget all the battles. Look at the pyramids. Oh my goodness.
And there's no, you know, there's no explanation for a lot of that, and that's what is so cool about it all. And I think that's the part of the paranormal more people can relate to and not get freaked out about, because it's a cool mystery.
Well, you know, and if you open your mind up, I mean, if you really, really, really open your mind up, you know, there's, you know, the Christians, you know, they're pretty committed to the King James Version of the Bible, you know, but prior to that, you know, there was the Book of Enoch, and it talked about, you know, the sons of the gods coming down and having sex with the daughters of man. And then you have all these pantheons, if you're Wiccan or a Druid or however, so all these pantheons with similar sets, you know what I mean? Like with the Norse, you've got Odin and friggin' Freya, you've got Zeus, and it's got the male figure as the dominant overseer. He's got his wife, who is beautiful and, you know, slightly jealous, but the mother of all type of thing. It's very interesting. Even the Sumerians have a very beautiful pantheon. It's just amazing how you can take all these things and move them together and, you know, have your own interpretation of how the world works.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it makes you look at things from a different point of view, too.
Absolutely. I think that's where the education comes in. The more open-minded we are, you know what I mean? I am not so vain or arrogant as to think my way is the only way and that I am right. You know, I'm a Libra. I can't make up my mind 95% of the time. You know, that's horrible. It is. I mean,
let me flip a coin.
You've seen it on the left page. I don't know. We could be a good guy. You made me look like a butt, right?
Push her off the edge. Pull her this way. Push her that way.
I know, right? I believe I've given everybody enough rope to either, you know, tie a bow or hang themselves.
Exactly.
Everybody has the opportunity. You know, I also kind of think, you know, the paranormal field is, you know, kind of on para-celebrity. I really don't care what kind of equipment you have. I don't care where you've been or what you've done. What contribution have you made?
Exactly. And how are you treating your fellow person? You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's where love comes in.
Yeah, I've seen some, even especially on Facebook, I've seen some very mentally ill people not only exploit themselves, but other members of the paranormal. Yeah. You know, there's been people in there, you know, degreed professionals that I have shaken my head at. shamefully shaking my head at because I couldn't believe he behaved like that.
Yeah.
Talk to other people like that.
Yeah.
And there have been, people that are just, from some little tiny community just doing fabulous work.
It just amazes you. Well, but it goes back to that whole, who's book smart, who's street smart, who's experience smart. And I think that's where a lot of it comes from, because I think, there's nothing wrong with people that have their degrees and they've studied and just educated themselves out the wazoo. And I think they have gotten themselves so into a book and so into material that they discount the experience, because what they've read, what they've learned, what's been taught to them says that it's not possible.
It's the same contrast you can make. Like my husband is a dirt worker. We own our own company. We have for years. You give an engineer that'll sit down and drop a set of plans and tell you this is how it's supposed to be. Like, you look at him and it's not practical, and you can't implement it because you've never been out in the field. You cannot tell somebody how to investigate, how an investigation should go, or what you should be doing on an investigation if you haven't gone out there and got your hands dirty. We have got, in NPS, we've got a wealth of knowledge. We've got a nice gentleman named Will Crawford, who is amazing. If you're looking for investigation techniques,
he's awesome.
The man is a former police officer, and he's a former investigator, and that's what he does professionally. He's got beautiful insight. Rob Hillstrom.
Yep.
He's another just brilliant. Oh, Rob, right. Alan Larson, very nice man. That's our founder. Founder's, hardworking, great guy. We've got, and out doing documentaries and getting his hands dirty, rolling up his sleeves and getting his hands dirty. Yeah. He's not, we're not working with a bunch of pretty people who roll up their, who roll up in their chair and let the camera crew set it all up.
They're not paid actors. They don't just sit around there like, divas either. And that's what's so cool.
Yeah, and we got, like you and Vegan working your butt off. You're always out there in that field,
Always trying to
find named Dennis, out there doing new and different things. And I dig on people out there doing documentaries, Yeah. These are places I'm not going to get to. I'm here in Colorado, and I promise you, about the shortest distance I've traveled for an investigation, I probably did 20 or 30 minutes, but the longest distance I've traveled, 8.5 hours across the state.
Wow.
And Texas is huge, too. We go everywhere, you know what I mean? And we went to, this is one investigation we went to. We did our intake on the house, and one place we didn't look until after the investigation was over was in the attic. Because
how could you avoid that attic? Well, I don't know. My whole thing on my Facebook thing was I won't even go in my own attic. I might go in your attic, but I'm not going in mine.
Well, it was hard to get to, but once we got into it, it had wiring from the 1930s.
Oh my gosh!
Round gate, and the people were complaining of hallucinations. Yeah, it my EMS.
Yeah, that's when you start to check stuff off your list. Oh, well, that explains that. That explains that. That explains that. Oh, yeah, we got that.
I know, 3 o'clock in the morning, and we're sitting there, and we hear this, and we're like, what is that? And the pretty soon, bing, the door off, and we're looking at each other like, that did not just happen. And it was because, it's because of electric current in the house. There's, like I said, there are so many things.
Debunk. And,
right.
It kills me. Oh, no, that's not possible. That had to be a spirit ringing that doorbell. Okay.
That's like with UFOs, too. With the UFO community, people have to take into in-depth consideration the placements of satellites and, debris, space debris. We've got a lot of it up there. I was in Norwood last week. I think it was a Wednesday night. And, you can always aircraft by the reds and blues. Always. Even if it's military.
Yeah.
It's got a blue indicator. This had green in it, too.
Oh, my God.
And it hovered in the same place for about 5 hours. And I didn't have a telescope. I saw the backyard. I just had a rifle scope, binoculars, whatever.
Anything it takes to look.
I'm sure my brother-in-law's neighbors thought I was losing my mind. I was like,
what is going on?
I said, get your gun cabinet, give me the biggest scope you got.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of funny. Let's kind of dive a little bit into the UFO. You sent some links, and I've kind of, me. If you send it to me, I'm going to look at it, and if you talk about it, I'll look at it. I'm nosy like that. I just kind of want to learn stuff. If we think about it, when somebody says, and I guarantee you, everybody watching is going to think this, when you say UFO, what's the first thing we think of? Roswell.
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course.
So, let's think about that for a minute. When you say that, do you think that's paranormal? No, because that's not how we've understood it. We just think that's, the government's doing stuff out there, it's Area 51, blah, blah, blah. But, how do we really know that? And it goes back to, you and I have had this discussion. I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I believe, God made the earth. But how do we know, coming from a Christian faith, that this wasn't God's, 100th time trying this? How do we know there's not other universes out there, and now they're starting to connect? We don't know that. How do we know that we are the only ones out here? I mean, are we really that arrogant that we think we're the only ones?
Oh, we're not. I mean, geez. Oh. I mean, I had a picture I wanted to get to you before I packed all the computer up. About how small the Earth actually is in comparison to some of the known stars, in neighboring systems.
Yeah.
We are one in a zillion. And I mean, we are as small as an atom in the human body. I mean, if you want to think about it like that.
Yeah, and then think how small we are compared to that. You know what I mean?
I know. And we're so arrogant in our existence, it's just not even a blink that, I mean.
It's just us.
Yeah.
We're just the only ones here.
No, I know. I'm sorry. I can't begin to believe that I'm the beginning or the end of anything.
Right.
I'm part of the whole, but, and when you go and you talk about, like, UFOs and alien sightings, we can trace stuff back to 600 BC, when they started documenting. It was like Ezekiel's wheel, okay?
Yep.
And according, even like with the biblical, Ezekiel 1, chapter 128, when the visitors landed, he saw that each of the visitors was riding on what appeared to be made like a wheel out of intersecting a wheel. These are biblical references. You're going to get a lot of people that will object to that. Fair enough. 1561, there's two German broadsheets of a UFO dogfight over Nuremberg. You can keep going.
So
history is crowded with this. Absolutely. UFO over Massachusetts in 1693 or 39. Delaware. And, I think one of the big ones, too, for me, because I was in Phoenix at the time, was in 1997, the Phoenix Lights.
Yep.
I lived Air Force Base when that was going on. So, I mean, it's incredible.
I think people try to, they try to pass it off as being the government. I think the government keeps a lot of this stuff under wraps because it would freak us all
absolutely.
out. You know what I mean?
Personally, I believe it's a share of technology. I believe that, I believe we have aliens here inhabiting the Earth. I don't care what anybody thinks, but I believe that they share technology with the government. Sorry. And I also believe the government can cure cancer. It's just not, important enough for pharmaceutical companies to let go that money. I believe that the American people have lost their desire for the truth and their willingness to put time and effort in to learn. And then
it's
people stamp fanatic on your head,
Yeah, it's convenient for us to not have to think about it. Because to think about it means that we've got to go as, a human and rationalize it.
Right.
We've got to explain it, and I just don't think we're ready for that.
But, people have trust in the government up until, there's been a growing distrust in the government, and as the government gets bigger, our trust gets smaller. We want to feel safe.
How many people's silence can you buy in the government, and for how long?
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, there's no way to do that. I was just looking at some of the links that you sent me were the, and you guys can go out there and Google this, too as well. But one of the links, while we're talking about aliens and UFOs, was the top 10 alien sightings, and there was one in 2008 over North Carolina. So, I mean, this is stuff that didn't just happen, back around Roswell. It didn't happen in the 1940s. It didn't happen just in the 1970s. But this is stuff that is still going on still being witnessed, still being documented. So, I mean, I don't know that you could say it's getting more popular or there's more instances, but I think people are becoming more aware. And I think with technology and with science, I think we are actually starting to recognize and be able to capture this more.
Right. Well, I think people are more interested in knowing the truth. You know, personally, you know, I don't think that the truth will hurt us as much as lies do. You know, I understand about mass hysteria and panic and all that, but I mean, when you've lied to the people to the point where, you know, they're establishing militias because they know you're full of crap.
Exactly.
I believe we're doing a disservice. Yeah, you know, and going to that even, you know, I am altogether completely just dumbfounded that government hasn't stepped in and started to regulate us as a group.
Yeah.
You know,
well, I think they're afraid to. How are you going to do that? I mean, it goes to, there's a question in the chat room for you. You know, do you think we'll ever get to a point where we're certifying investigators? I mean, at some point, we've got to figure out how we define that. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, now, there are actually, you know, in New York, you cannot just go out and investigate. Actually, from what I understand, you have to be a licensed private investigator. Now, granted, I don't know what kind of training that is, but, you know, we had a conversation. We had a conversation on NPS not too long ago about being bonded. Yeah. Well, I think it's, you know, I think bonded and insured, you know, personally bonded and insured just for liability issues would probably be smart because, I mean, people, I believe that, you know, like I said, I believe some of the people with mental illnesses are being exploited by people claiming to go in and cleanse their house. Really. Yeah.
Well, and I don't think they're starting with that basic question that needs to be asked going in. Have you ever seen a counselor? Are you under a doctor's care? Are you taking any medication? Are you depressed? Are you a maniac? Are you bipolar? Do you have ADHD? I mean, none of those questions are being asked, and you guys, y'all are doing the client and the person who is going through this a huge disservice by not asking that, because this person could have some type of paranoia about stuff going on that's really not going on in the house that could be straightened out by, you know, a medication, a professional, something like that. And you've got teams there, oh yeah, it's paranormal. Really? You just did
absolutely. And there's a question too about, you know, how safe are the investigators going in to somebody's house who's not emotionally well, you know? And I'll tell you what, I go look in people's medicine cabinets, and I tell them I'm going to look. I walk through the house, and I go right in the bathroom, right in front of them with them, and I look in their medicine cabinet. Yeah. And I see if they have medicines, you know. We had this sweet woman one time who, she's elderly. She was taking a lighter and burning holes in the ceiling because demons were coming out of her ceiling. And, you know, we got kind of in a moral quandary. What were we supposed to do? Because she was definitely at risk. She was definitely at risk of her hurting herself. Come to find out, you know, she told us she wasn't on any meds, so we sat down on her bed to do an EVP session. Lo and behold, under her pillow were more medicines than I have seen. You know, my mom died of breast cancer in 2012, and this woman was sitting on more meds than I saw on my mom's page. Wow. And come to find out, she was a diabetic, just refused to take her meds. She wouldn't take her insulin, and she was a sugar addict. I bet we put like 15 baby Ruth packs under her bed. I kind of made a giggle. I was like, honey, you're going to kill yourself. I said, we're burning the house down. And she, you know, she just kind of laughed. And she did it because she needed the attention. She was lonely, and beyond being lonely, she's hallucinating.
Well, not just that, but I think some of them, their families either are tired of the outcries, tired of the boy who cried wolf, so let's go find somebody else that can not really legitimate, but give them some peace of mind that it's something else, so they can go back to tell their family, I'm not crazy, I don't need my medication.
All right. Oh my gosh. You know, and honestly, you know, it's unrealistic for us to think we're going to get, you know, a full cycle before we go out on these investigations, because the people, you know, people who are truly in desperate need are terrified to talk about this. People, they are they're inhibited in regards to it. And it's not just the paranormal. I had a gentleman contact me about a UFO sighting, and it was kind of ironic because she wasn't the only one who contacted me about it and talked to me. But too, we've got to keep in mind too, like Skinwalker Ranch it's on the Duchesne. Well, it saddles up to the Duchesne Indian Reservation in Utah. There's a gentleman, and his last name is Bigelow, who is some aeronautics, mogul from Las Vegas, Nevada, who bought the ranch. And if you want to read a really good book, it's Hunt for Skinwalker, and that opens your eyes. Well, they were talking about seeing unidentified flying objects there. I bet they were. When you're talking about an aeronautics engineer, I bet they were on top of something very interesting. Living by Luke Air Force Base. I saw a whole lot of stuff. My dad was, civilian contracted as an armament specialist for the military, and you want to talk about conspiracy theories. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So, my perspective on these things is very interesting. I believe that, the government is up to stuff in regards to that, and that's why it's top secret. Fair enough. But
it could also be, what people try to explain it as is them testing out new equipment. I mean, we're never going to know whether that's true or not because it's all classified. But you know what? You can't rule out that possibility, and that goes back to the scientific mind of test, test, test. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Well, how many people go out in the field and don't know their equipment?
Yeah. Or how many people go out without equipment and use, your common sense and the senses that you have on your body. You can't unsee something that you've seen, but you can question a piece of technology as to whether there was a short, a battery issue, a malfunction. I mean, you can't. Somebody that's seen something that's been emotionally affected, you can't undo that for them, and so you can't question. You didn't really see that. Well, we weren't there. So it makes it difficult.
Credibility becomes a huge issue. Yeah, credibility is a huge issue.
And you've got some of those clients that we were talking about the medications and stuff. You will have some clients that will go to the doctor. They will get seen. They will get their checkups done, and they'll come back to you because they are so terrified about what's going on that they will work with you to rule everything out. And those are the kind of clients that are they're awesome to work with because okay, they are legitimately concerned about what's going on in their house to the point that they're going to go get tested. They're going to go do everything they can to rule that out, which is awesome. Not all of them do that. Not all of them do that. I mean, you and I have had one here lately we've had to deal with. But it's just, people kill me. People kill me. They kill me. They just kill me.
Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, I'm located in Colorado. I have never investigated on the East Coast, except for when I did some gravestone rubbings in New Hampshire and Maine.
Yeah, and, how long were you there?
Well, God, it was in 1997 and 98.
Yeah, people just...
people go out and make some pretty fantastic claims. And I find it very interesting because there's a few people who, no matter what investigation they go on, whether it's the crypto investigation, whether, they're out, researching UFOs, whatever, that they always find something. I find that ironic.
I wish I was that lucky. I've been doing this for 4 years, and there's times that I've gone out and never find anything.
Absolutely.
I wish, whatever y'all are doing, kind of clue me in.
Right? Well, I don't think, it's kind of like Incredible. If everything's special, then nothing really is.
Right. Then what are we in this for? If you're finding something every time, why don't you come up with the equipment to document all that for the rest of us? And we'll just quit researching. We'll just leave it to you, and you can be the end-all, be-all knowledgeable person on it, and I'll go find another hobby.
Yeah, no, and kind of, people have to be a little, I don't know, more willing to learn and to listen and to just, I don't know, be teachable. You know what I mean? When we stop learning, we're done. You know, there's nothing left. And, you know, I've heard people say, you know, I've been in here for 20 or 30 years. Okay. Then why aren't we farther than we were? You know, why are the same questions still coming up? You know, we still haven't gotten past, you know, the basics of any of this. And like I said, that's one of the reasons I'm totally drawn to, you know, like I said, back to MUFON. You know, their format is consistent. And if we could implement something that basic consistency, and where we could just start, you know, documenting stuff.
Well, if we could, or we could agree on one thing, you know, there's no such thing as orbs. No, I'm just kidding. But, you know, if there's just one thing that we could agree on, and I think that's why, you know, MUFON is so successful, is because they agree this is the format we're all going to use. It's worked, it's consistent, it's tried, it's true. Let's do this. And, you know, it goes back to the same thing, you know, and I hate to preach about this, but it goes back to being in your science classes where we did all of our experiments and you did the same thing. You might have had two different subjects. You did them both the same way, and you compared results. It's not any more difficult than that for what we do. It's really not. It's really not.
Well, you know, and if, like I said, if we could establish that base, and then, you know, take these basic readings, do this, document that, and then go ahead and run your investigation as you would. You know, if we could go forward from there, give us an opportunity to have your standard baseline. And I think that would be wonderful for people, you know, and I know I would love it, you know, because I'm a facts kind of girl, you know what I mean? I like a standard operating procedure, you know, we can wrap.
Well, but, you know, if you think about it, Candy, it would explain, you know, we were talking about the orbs and the moisture and the weather when you're investigating. All of that information is documented by professionals. We have the internet. You can look it up and look for yourself when you're getting ready to go investigate. And it's just as simple as having an outline, a piece of paper that you take every time. We have client questionnaires at the Yin Yang. We should have an outline for things that we're measuring. Where was the moon phase? What was the temperature? You know, what was this? What was that? And it's so easy. And then if you go back to that same location, you can compare every single time. And it's just a matter of getting into that habit. But I think a lot of us are so into it for an experience that we're not looking at it scientifically.
Right, absolutely.
Which is
you know, and you need to take it into consideration, like environmental variables. You know what I mean? You know, you went in June. Okay, so then when you go in October, it is going to be distinctly different. You know, it's very interesting. You know, and like I said, if we could agree to disagree,
right? You know, you guys that are part of the NPS that see Candy on the wall, you're always going to get us asking that. You're always going to get us asking those same questions. Is that my?
What is it?
That was weird.
I know, right?
That was really weird. Talk about, you know what, it's probably a dolphus. That was so weird. I'm sitting here reading about some of the links you had sent me. You know, we hadn't even talked about ancient mysteries yet. We got like 11 minutes left. I'm sitting there reading on that, and all of a sudden I'm like, what the heck is that noise coming out?
Well, let's talk about probably the biggest ancient mystery that we've all heard of. Let's talk about the pyramids.
Right? I mean, come on.
How do you think they got here?
that is paranormal. Come on, it's paranormal. It's not just history and scientific, but it's paranormal.
You know, it comes down, we can speculate all we want about, you know, the rule of the kings, and, you know, the valleys, you know, all those things. But how did they get there, and why? And how can they be so geometrically perfect?
Right?
How can they be
so... How the heck did they build them back then before we had, like, these big old cranes and stuff we have now? Somebody said that even with the technology we have now, we still wouldn't have been able to build them as precise as what they are now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't imagine.
I know. So here's a good one for you, and you and I talked about this that night I was watching History Channel. What do you think about the crystal skulls?
That is amazing to me. Again, I couldn't imagine the technology that was utilized to craft them. I can't, and I know that it's not synonymous with the time period, that's speculated with them being created in. That one I just kind of have to put my hands up and shake my head. Again, like I said, I believe as our things we've had alien influence in our culture many, many times. Mm-hmm. Many times. Mm-hmm.
Well, there's just so much out there that's unexplainable that we really don't know. I mean, were those crystal skulls something that, started off maybe in a tribe that were created, and, as the tribe expanded out, maybe it was seen as something of good luck, and then all of a sudden they're found all over the world? I mean, we really have no clue about that kind of stuff.
If you think about this ancient mystery too, the pictures, the pictoglyphs, that some people speculate is, of aliens, they're found all over the world. Not just like in Sago Canyon, in Utah. They're found in Africa, not in Europe. And they're very, very similar. And that's just kind of startling, the similarities, That's a big ocean for a small boat, back in 600, 700, 800 BC, 2000 BC even, It's amazing.
Well, and how many people tried to cross that ocean and lost their lives in the middle of it?
Oh yeah, I'm a Viking fanatic. I love the Vikings. I mean, and it's proven. They've gotten all the way down into the Middle East. Think about Genghis Khan, conquering as much of the world as he did, and Alexander the Great. It's startling what our ancestors have done.
Yeah.
So
and what they did without airplanes and everything else.
Okay. So it doesn't surprise me that there are those ruins in Central America to match the Dogma tribe in Africa. It just doesn't. Like I said, if we just open our minds and maybe close our eyes, we could
probably
more.
Yeah, we could probably see a lot more.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, it's just that's what it's about. We have, as Christians, we have faith that there's a God that we've never seen, and so, how is it so far fetched that there's not aliens, UFOs, Bigfoot? How is it that we can't believe that? I just, it kills me that we can be so narrow-minded.
Yeah, it's a little frightening. But you know what? That's what we're doing here. That's what we're doing now. We're pushing the edges of the fringe sciences. And to do that, we've got to establish basics. And once we can get, even if we had a 30% consensus, that 30% consensus would build itself to 35 and then to 40. And then it would, it's like building a car. It would become an industry standard, as long as we could make progress with it. Because honestly, we have not gotten one step further today than we were when home culture was pioneering this field.
Right. And that's kind of sad, because you would think in this kind of field we would have already been making some strides.
Yeah. Well, first we got to stop asking. First of all, the entire science community has got to stop acting like a bunch of 40-year-old high school students and bickering about everything.
Oh, come on! It's not really life.
I know. I'm a 12-year-old girl that argues less than the people on I'm like, pick fight with her like I do say something about Justin Bieber.
Yeah, right? We need to find like a little island in the middle of everybody where we can all just kind of come together and come into an agreement that this is black, this is white, whatever it is in our field, so that we've got some place to start together as a whole. And I think that goes across all of the departments in all of the areas.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I mean,
now the one like ancient mysteries, I mean, that to me, that is not an area that is very easy to, unless you're scholarly and have the time to travel away to these foreign places and, and cyber crime, it's financially, those are financially difficult, to work with. I love reading everything I can about them just because there's so many different perspectives. And and I'm sure in some facets I romanticize it too, because I know what I would like for it to be.
Right.
But what is it at this time? What is it this time? It's a mystery. There are no answers. With the paranormal community, it's very much that. You can start an argument that will end all end all be all if you just say something about demons or orbs.
Right.
My God, you got the skeptics who will never ever believe, and you got the believers who will never ever question. Now, if we could just mush them together.
If we could just get a happy medium, kind of a little bit of balance. But you're right. I don't think that's going to happen until we're ready for it to. And there was a point made in the chat room. It's funny how ghosts are real, but aliens just don't exist.
Right. Hold on. Now, for the love of God, how can you say, I believe in something I can't see, but there can't be other visitors? No, you're the only one.
No. There's no way that was documented. There's no way. Just like the pyramids don't exist, and whatever.
I know, right? But we are bringing it forward and making it, bringing it, socially forward and standing our ground and just, adhering to some rules. Like, that's one thing NPS gets dinged for every time. Not every time, but sometimes. People are like, well, it's so structured. There's so many rules. There's not a ton of rules that, because, we couldn't act like adults. Talk had to be spelled out.
Yeah. Not just that, but we're 7,400 members now, and this is the conversation that's been had on the wall here in the last week. We had somebody complain about how structured we are. Well, I'm sorry, 7,400 people. If we were all sitting in a room and there were no rules, how much chaos would there be? And the point that we've been having here lately is people are posting stuff and they're not even saying why they're posting it. So let's start some conversation. Let me go walk in a room and let me show you my little, I'm looking for something here. Let me show you my little picture, and then I'm going to run out the room. What the hell was that about? That's what you're doing when you're posting that video and that picture out there and not leaving us with anything. I just...
I totally...
Peggy, I'll get on my patience, but I have no patience for people that cannot read the members packet at the top of the wall. I'm sorry. Go read it. You can't see it. It says ads only on Tuesday. See, I'm getting on my soapbox. We can't come to a happy medium about paranormal investigating because we can't even read the rules of a group. So what makes you think that even if we had established guidelines, those would be read?
Right. Well, and here we are with that. I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, I know. You want us to read, and here we go. I mean, what do you mean I'm not an investigator? I have a flashlight and a recorder. I'm in the dark here, man.
Oh, my God. I like the point that Rob made today. Maybe we should put the rules in audio. Click here. No ads except for on Tuesday. Click here. Please initiate conversation when posting pictures and videos. Click here. Oh, my God.
Oh, I know. I got scolded by a member one time for my cold talk because sometimes I don't get very emotionally involved. I just think the rules.
You emotionally involved? No. You get pretty supercharged about stuff. I love it.
I know. They don't see me on the web page going, be nice.
Oh, my gosh. Robin, stop the ads already. We're going back and forth about ads in the chat room. Whatever. Tomorrow's Thursday. Starts with a T. It ends in day. It's not Tuesday. Don't let me catch an ad on the wall tomorrow.
All right. How about I find some ugly ugly ass shoes? What about that?
My God. Ever since I've come on board, I feel like the ad Nazi. I'm like, nope, 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 nope. And other reps are like, do you think this? Nope, delete it. delete it, delete it, delete it.
Sherry, can I make a suggestion to both of you?
Sure.
Get Eric to name a chairperson in charge of trolls.
I don't know. Let's see. Jose Prado.
Oh my God.
Eric, I don't know this guy's name. Eric Reisinger. How about him? I think he would be good.
You know, I think he'd be awesome. He's always on the page.
Yeah.
Don't have time.
Yeah.
You know, we get that Yeti after that.
Ain't got no time.
He has got time between 2 and 4 a.m. Don't let him fool you.
Just a little bit of time. But he's got to sleep at some point. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Our founder needs to be over the trolls. What do you think? We need to get our founder working some more. We start poking him some. Poor guy.
His hands are full right now.
You know, Eric's screwed because he has you on one side and me on the other, and we're both just like wham, wham, wham.
Right. Oh, I know. You know, I laughed one time. He goes, I got to go PM, and you just stop it.
Well, you know, you want us to do what we got to do.
Say.
Yep. You know, we got to do.
I'm actually really grateful to Eric, you know, for starting the NPS. I mean, actually, I've gotten the opportunity to meet a lot of new people and see things from a lot of different perspectives that I probably never would have. And honestly, it's a clean forum. You know what I mean? You're not on there having to put up with, you know, it's not a paranormal billboard, which I get on some of the sites and I don't even have the patience to review the conversation simply because of the fact that there's so much crap on the page.
Yeah.
You know, there's no conversation.
Educated conversation, it seems. Except for those people that like to kind of get sidetracked, that we have to kind of find their way back. But for the most part, you know, you can go in there and learn a lot. And I've noticed, you know, since its inception, since, you know, I've been part of it, I've noticed it kind of come around full circle to the point where now people will post on there, hey, you know, like somebody posted, I think it was today or yesterday, what kind of software does everybody use for their stuff? Well, you know, it could be that person was brand new, just starting off, and they didn't know. But it could be that, you know, they also were using a software they didn't like anymore. But you educate yourself that way because there could be something new and better that's out there. So, I mean, we don't just talk about orbs, and we don't just talk about UFOs, and we don't just talk about Bigfoot. I mean, we have other conversations that happen that are paranormal related. Now, don't be posting your damn shoe ads out there unless you're going to have a night vision camera in it and it's paranormal related. But, you know, for the most part, it has been a pretty healthy environment for everybody to go to and learn from. And I think that's where Eric intended it to be. And it's taken it almost a full 2 years to get there, but it's there.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and it's not something that just happens in a minute or two. You know, often imitated, never duplicated. You know.
Yep.
And yeah, and it takes work. You know, it takes
a lot
of work.
How many times are you and I talking during the day about stuff? I mean, it's like, man, I don't know what I did before I was an NPS rep, girl. I just don't
right.
I just don't know. And then having to do all the stuff on the website. I mean, really? I don't have anything else going on. Come on. So anyway, we need to start kind of wrapping up. So tell people where they can find you and your team, because you are based out of Colorado and you do have a team. Everybody, Candy's not just the NPS person. She does have a team.
No, it is the Anomalous Phenomenon Research Bureau. And we are located out of Grand Junction, Colorado. We serve western Colorado and eastern Utah. And we do basically everything. We investigate anything that goes into the French science realm. Right now we're doing a structured and long-term investigation on a place called Sego Canyon. Sego Canyon's got petroglyphs. It's got some amazing stuff in it. It actually was just a little ghost town that we started looking at, but outside of it, we've got some amazing Ute Indian pictoglyphs and petroglyphs, and, you know, like I said, we're spending time there.
Yeah, you sent me that link.
Like I said, I beg your pardon?
I said, you sent me that link, and that place looks kind of cool.
It is actually, you know, and it's dilapidated. It's really wearing down, and you know, and people go in and just really ruin the petroglyphs. It just disgusts me that somebody would deface it, but they do. You know,
Yeah.
It's sad, but you know, there are 1,000 years worth of communications there. Again, you know, what I believe are, you know, depictions of aliens. And to have all that, you know, Utah is my backyard, you know, and Colorado, it's beautiful out here. So, I mean, we have the opportunity to do a lot. Up in Norwood is the Ute wintering ground. My husband and I have actually gone up there and started, you know, poking around to see how we're going to do some investigating out there, you know, what kind of parameters we're going to use as baselines and things like that.
Right.
I'm part of a great team of people. Deb Anderson, one of the NPS reps, is my teammate. Bob Bukowski, Emily and Ted Montoya, my husband Pally, Gabe and Kim James. You know, we get out there and we get our hands dirty. We don't take every case like we used to. We pick and choose kind of specifically now. We go through a pretty deliberate vetting process. And it doesn't mean we don't offer, you know, we don't offer support and whatnot. It's just with the TV craze, we were getting a lot of people crying wolf, and it inundated us to the point where we couldn't get to people who truly needed us.
Who needed it, yeah. So you kind of have to do that weeding out.
Absolutely.
That's kind of how it is.
Yeah,
Well,
and I'm sure you guys have a qualification process also. So.
Yeah, and a lot of times you can get a lot of that done over the telephone or just by, you know, asking certain questions. I mean, I think I've had more people reach out to me since I've become a full-fledged part of NPS. I mean, I've always been a member, but I think I've had more people reach out to me since I've been on the board more. And I think I've actually learned a lot more. And it's been kind of funny watching other people's advice and their techniques and their experiments, because it's stuff that I like to try when I go back out. So I'll go back to a place that I've been to before and I'll try something new. So, I mean, you guys, NPS is just, it really is amazing. You can learn there, share information there. And that's what Eric really intended for it to be. And I couldn't think of a better place. I mean, I'm a member of a lot of paranormal groups, and I can't tell you the last time I popped into them and cared about what was going on. And I know that's bad, but I know I can go into NPS and I can get what I need. I can consult with other people. I'm Facebook friends with a lot of those people, so it's more of a comfortable environment for me, so to speak. And I hope a lot of other people find it that way too. So, well, I want to thank you for coming on. You and I talk every day, so it's kind of weird to be able to talk for a full hour and not have to worry about being interrupted.
I know. I was waiting for Miss Paisley to come. Mama!
Well, she was here earlier. She's with Dad this week, but I'm watching her after school, so I'll have her all next week. But yeah, usually she's up in here wanting to say hi to everybody. So my little booger.
Well, you give that little booger sugar for us.
I will. Thanks for being on. I'm sure I'll talk to you here in just a little bit. You guys, Candy Meehan, everybody knows who she is because she's the face of NPS right behind Eric. So thanks for being on, Candy.
No, thanks for having me. I hope you have a great night.
Thanks.
Bye.
So, Eric, are we doing shows next week? Have we decided what we're doing for Thanksgiving yet?
Thanksgiving Day will be all repeats on the autopilot. We won't be doing any shows.
So there you guys have it, straight from the Yeti. We will be back, not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after that, we're going to talk to Rob Hillstrom. He's the department chair for science and technology. He's also one of the reps. You guys are probably real familiar with him on the NPS wall. He is going to be our next person to talk to, and that should be fun since we have been talking about science and technology tonight. That's definitely going to be one of those fun subjects, so you guys come with your questions. Send in to me ahead of time if you want. Visit with Rob. I'm really looking forward to talking to him. He's one of my favorite reps to work with, so we'll look forward to speaking with him. You guys will be able to see, if you're here in the Metroplex, we are doing the Texas Paranormal Unity Fest, or the Para Unity Fest, in March on the 22nd in Glen Rose, Texas. Candy's actually going to be here. She's going to be speaking about UFOs and aliens and ancient mysteries, so don't miss that if you can make it. Again, that's going to be March 22nd here in Texas in Glen Rose. It's going to be a full weekend. You guys can find out some more about that. Look on the DNS page. If you're Facebook friends with me, I'm pushing it a lot because I'm going to also be speaking there as well. So you'll be able to see Candy there. So you guys buy your tickets for that. And then let's just give a shout out to our sponsors. And we're going to call it a hump day night. And I'm going to enjoy having this house to myself for once. So let's start off by thanking Jeremy at Paranologies. You guys, Jeremy's got some new stuff out. I told you about it last week. There's more stuff out this week. Check it out. It is so awesome. It's so cool. I'm glad to see he's got some new stuff coming out. So we have some new toys to play with and some new equipment to test out. And then I want to give a huge, huge shout out and thanks to Scott Frederick, who's been helping me the last week. You guys want to know who my go-to person is for my orb pictures that come in? Scott is it. He is awesome. He does straightforward professional photography, and he's awesome. I swear one of these days I'm going to hop in his suitcase and go to some of these urban-looking places he goes to. So we're also looking for sponsors. So if you guys are interested in having your ad appear on the show, having us talk about you, having us promote you on the DNS website, or even on the Facebook page, you guys give me a message on Facebook, send me an email, give me a shout out. You can find me on the NPS board, and let me know. We'd be glad to have you as a sponsor and start pushing things. We're going to start getting a little crazy next year with a little bit more structured stuff, and we're kind of taking a different format too, so you guys kind of be looking for that as well. So with that said, I'm going to wish everybody a good night. We're not going to see you for Turkey Day, so you guys have a great Thanksgiving. No shopping on Thanksgiving, and don't be putting up your Christmas lights before then either. So until December, you guys have a good night. Oarfish coming up, and how, what is it, that they're a sign of an earthquake to come or something like that. There's some type of stigma attached to it, but it's kind of like, you know what, there are still places in the ocean that we have not reached and that we cannot get to the depths of. So it's like there's still a ton of stuff left to be discovered. And you know what? None of that stuff's normal.
Absolutely. And you know, and I think one of the things that the entire fringe science community is missing is a standard operation procedures.
Yep.
You know, that's the one thing, you know, love it or hate it about MUFON. I mean, they've got a basis of how to conduct their investigations, and what they do is they put it in a database, you know what I mean, and they're able to track. And I mean, I wish, you know, in the paranormal group that we could come to some agreement, you know, or just, you know, even on an investigation, you know, fill out this format for us to submit it, and let us start documenting and tracing. And I'm talking about everything from longitude and latitude to using you know, specs from the U.S. Geological Surveys and, you know, the U.S. Weather Department. I mean, you know, and I'm sure I'm going to make 100 enemies, probably even 1,000, but oh my God, I hate orb pictures. I hate orb pictures with
how many have we
of my
had lately? Oh, my God.
I bet since I've been part of NPS, I have seen probably 5,000 orb pictures. And I'm going to tell you, out of those 5,000 orb pictures, I found 2 compelling. 2. And the only reason I found those 2 compelling is because there were pictures prior to and succeeding from the photo in question. They had supporting evidence, and the people documented. You know, first thing I do when somebody says, "Oh, there's no moisture in the air," I ask them where they were and approximately what date. And then I go check the barometric pressure records for that area.
It's not that hard.
Well, no, and what I think we've gone to the point is people are so desperate to find something. They want to be that 1 in a trillion.
Right.
Instead of supporting the entire community with a solid basis of information, we're grasping at straws. You know, and there's been things, you know, like I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was on the Discovery Channel. It was something about gas orbs that these people were seeing out in this field, and they were blue and they rose from the ground up. It was really amazing. That was, but that again was environmental. But it had people ready to believe.
You know, we don't really think about everything else that falls underneath that category or underneath that heading. And so it's kind of got me thinking, hey, that's why we need to probably put the department chairs on, because there's probably some teams and some groups and some individuals out there who never thought they were part of the paranormal. And I know, you know, each month we've been trying to highlight a different department, and, you know, we're adding people on. I think this month we were looking at cryptozoology, and we were actually looking at some of the Bigfoot groups and people that study that and Bigfoot hunt. Even Eric went out and Bigfoot hunted a little bit this go round too. But it's funny to sit and watch the History Channel and you see, like you mentioned, Atlantis. That stuff that people are curious about, they get into, they love to learn about it, but they never realize it's actually a paranormal topic.
All right. And, I think people get lost, like, when they're thinking of paranormal, because they're thinking of ghosts and spirits. I mean, because that's really how everything has been marketed and publicized on TV. And because they've really set aside anything, out of the normal is just big ghost hunting and or investigating. For those of you that have PR issues with ghost hunting, the word. But it's all fringe science related. Every last bit of it. When you've got we'll cross to the aliens and UFOs. You've got two U.S. presidents, former U.S. presidents, who absolutely admit they've had their own experiences with unidentified flying objects.
Yep.
You've got Nobel Prize winners. You've got Nobel laureates. You've got doctors. You've got lawyers. And then you've got mom and pop. You've got farmers. You've got all of these people reporting things that they can't, that fall out of the realm of normal. And right there is paranormal. And, I think, like I said, I think it's because, the spirit world has been so marketed. I mean, since Cats took off, the first time that hit TV, people, it was like throwing, a fishing hook out there. Hook, line, sinker. The American public was just obsessed, and they have been ever since. And, some of the questionable things that I come into is, everybody with a digital recorder and a flashlight thinks they're a researcher.
Right.
Well, and in the paranormal community, unfortunately, there's a lot of mistrust and arrogance, which is really detrimental to the overall, goals that we should be sharing. Because, for me, science, it comes down to, the burden of proof. It truly does. If
Absolutely.
It's supernatural or spiritual, please show me. Explain this to me so that I have the opportunity to stand on the other side of the edge and see it from your point of view. And then all I'm asking is for you to stand on my side of it and look at it from my direction. We can, I believe that, a balance in the middle is where we're going to come to it. I don't believe that any discovery is going to be made purely scientifically or purely spiritually. I
all accidentally.
Yeah, exactly. Something really odd today. Sylvia Brown passed away today. And a lot of people truly have contempt for the woman. But, like her or hate her, she was a pioneer in the field.
Mm-hmm.
She absolutely brought this to the forefront, of people's lives. And she marketed it to death, you know what I mean? She did what she wanted to do with her life and her abilities. But if it hadn't been for her, James Van Praagh would never have been brought to that. Edgar Casey would never have been re-mentioned.
Yep.
Maybe here and there in blurbs and science journals and maybe occasionally on the Discovery Channel if they weren't, making up shark stories. That type of stuff.
Mermaid stories. I mean,
I
come
know.
on.
Right? The mermaid. God, I was hoping they were making up some of that shark stuff. That one just scared the bejesus out of me.
But I was hoping the mermaid stuff would be legit because, how cool would that be? But it goes to a lot of the stuff that we see, on the NPS wall getting posted. There's stuff that goes out there that we're just like, okay, well, like me learning more about cryptozoology and putting some of the animal-based creatures out there. People are like, how's that paranormal? Well, study your cryptozoology. How's Bigfoot paranormal?
That makes you laugh. How is that paranormal? Well, look at it. Is that normal to you?
Yeah, exactly. Do you see that every day? Really?
Well, and you've got to take into consideration in the rainforest. They're still discovering all sorts of creatures every single day that are unclassified.
Yeah. So
is there something out there that could, in the ocean? Is there something in the ocean that we may not have seen yet? Oh my God, yeah.
Well, but think about how deep that ocean is. They're talking about Wednesday night. I can't believe it's already halfway through the week, and you're on, ready for it? S Live. I'm the only one here tonight. We have no tattoo man in the background tonight. So anyway, we're going to be, I don't know, the show's really not going to be that much different, is it? Anyway, nothing new's happened around here. At least not really. We haven't done any investigations yet. I'm looking forward to doing some stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks, just to kind of get back in the saddle, it seems like. Get out and go do something. So who knows what we'll do. I know we've been talking about something. We'll see what happens. So anyway, 2 weeks ago, we started talking to the National Paranormal Society department heads, and we had started with Jose Prado at that time. And then last week, we talked to our friend Scott Grunwald, so that was fun. It was kind of a break away from the plan, so to speak. So tonight, we are going to be talking to Candy Meehan, who is over 2 departments, kind of like me. You got to kind of double duty the girls a little bit. So she has got aliens and UFOs and ancient mysteries, and she's also one of my really good friends, and we call ourselves partners in crime with the NPS, don't we, girl?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
So I want to welcome Candy to the show. So Candy, say hello to everybody.
Oh, hi, Sherry. Thank you very much for having me this evening. I look forward to it.
We should have some fun tonight, because we get to talk about something that's kind of new and exciting. And I know a couple of weeks ago, you and I were texting back and forth because I was watching some stuff on the History Channel, and it was just some really cool stuff. So now I'm like, maybe I need to start looking at this ancient mystery stuff some more.
I know. There is so much out there in regards to ancient mysteries. I mean, there are lost civilizations. There are like the Nazca lines. There are just Atlantis. I mean, there are so many things out there, and it's just kind of mind-boggling how they kind of have stories tie them into society. The past civilizations and even present. I mean, you've got divers from all over the world who are still committed to trying to find Atlantis. Spirit cave mummies. There's just, like I said, it's as much knowledge as there's as much knowledge out there as you're willing to put time and investigate into it. Like I said, I've learned so much since I took over the department. So.
Oh, I can imagine. Well, and you know what's so funny is, before I even joined NPS, a lot of us get into the paranormal and we think, oh, ghosts, spirits, hauntings,